are all well. So today I've got great news that Catalyst is coming back in some form in September. So I'll keep you updated on when that's going to be, but for now we are busy making plans. So it's not going to be the Catalyst that we all know, it's going to be very different with lots of restrictions in place. So I'm going to explain what all of those restrictions are throughout this video, and then I would like it at the end if you could let me know if you are going to come or if you feel that not yet or no for any other reason. So just a reminder that the group is for those aged 9 to 14. So if you are now going to secondary school, you can still come, that's absolutely fine. The group is still for you, and we would love to see you there. So at the end, if you could let me know either way, if you are coming or if you are not coming or not yet, then that would be great and just help with planning, because you'll see in a little bit about what the restrictions are and how much we need to consider when we're making plans. So the first restriction is a limit on numbers. So we are allowed 15 of us for Catalyst. That includes 12 of you guys and myself and Karen at every session. And obviously 15 is not the usual number for Catalyst, we usually have quite a few more. So we're going to have to carefully plan on whether we do 2 groups or 1 group in person, 1 group online. So you telling me whether you're coming back or not is really helpful in planning how we will do it. If we have to do 2 groups, then don't worry, you will of course be grouped with people that you are friends with, and we won't be splitting anyone up, don't worry. But we will be keeping you in that same group. So for example, if you are in group A, you will remain in group A until things are back to normal, and then if you're in group B, you'll stay in group B. We can't move you across groups. That's government restrictions, not ours. You'll know from school how carefully planned all these things are, but that's just what we need to do. So by you telling me if you're coming or not, that'll help me be able to make plans to start. So another big difference is going to be timings. So Catalyst is usually 5 until 6:30, but we're going to cut it a lot shorter, just at first to see how we get on. If we find that actually half an hour flies by, then we will increase the timings again, but we're going to meet at 5 o'clock on Mondays still, but for only half an hour to start with. So after a few weeks we might decide that actually we need a lot more time and we might extend the timings, or we might find that half an hour for now is just what we need. It's time to touch base and check in with everyone and see each other, because there are a few of you who don't go to the same school, so it'd be really nice to all gather together again. So the next big restriction is that we have to keep to a 2 metre social distance. So I know that the government rules are 1 metre plus, but the Church of England, who we are governed by, say that it has to be 2 metres. So if you let me know you are coming to Catalyst, then you will have to book each session that you want to come to, so I can make plans for that. So you will come into church, you will sanitise your hands on the way in, and you will find a chair that has got your name on it. That's where you'll stay for the session, and everything you need will be on that chair for the whole session. And then when we come to leave church, we'll help you leave one at a time from nearest the door first. So we have to keep the 2 metres, whether you are waiting outside to come in, whether you are walking into church, or whether we are in church. So it's not going to be the Catalyst we know, we're not all going to be sat around starting the group together. It will be very different, but at least it means we can see you in some way. And then the next one isn't as straightforward, as we are a split age group. But if you are aged 11 and above, you need to wear a face covering unless you are exempt for a medical reason. So at all times during the group, you need to wear a face mask of some description. Me and Karen will be wearing one as well. I know it's not ideal, but it's to protect us as much as possible. If you are under 11 and come to Catalyst, then you don't need to wear one, but if you would like to wear one, then that's great too. Another thing that we will need to do is to update all the contact details that I have for you. So annually in September we would update all our consent forms anyway and ask you to complete a new one. But for the purposes of track and trace, I will need you to consent for me to be able to share your details with track and trace if they request them. So if you say that you want to come back to Catalyst, then there'll be a new form for parents and carers to complete with that permission on there. Another thing is that I ask that you don't come early, so the group will start at 5 o'clock, and if you could come for dead on 5 o'clock, that would be great. And before the group starts, we have to clean down from church the previous day, and it just avoids any gathering outside and more people in a closer space than what they should be. So if you could get there for 5 o'clock instead of arriving early, then that would just help us out hugely. There won't be any access to the toilets unless it is an emergency situation and you're extremely desperate, but we would ask that you go before you come to the session, because if someone goes to the toilet, we have to give it a thorough clean down in between each person, and just with the group restrictions, there's just not enough adults to be able to do that. So of course, if it is an emergency, you will be able to go, but we would ask that you go to the toilet at home, that would just help us out massively. Usually at Catalyst we would all sit round together, we would have hot chocolate or milkshake, and then if there's a birthday we'd have birthday cake, and there would often be other treats, but unfortunately there won't be any refreshments. We're just not allowed to serve you anything, I'm afraid. But you are more than welcome to bring a drink with you or some treats as well, but you can't share them with anyone outside your household. So if your sibling is with you, you will be sat next to them, sorry about that, and you can share with them, but you cannot offer anything to anybody else that's outside your household. So there won't be any shared resources. So often we would do baking, which is out of the question because of refreshments, but also sharing things. We would usually have a craft, games consoles, board games, all those kind of things. And unfortunately, because those things require people to touch the same thing that somebody else has touched, we just won't be able to do that. So what will happen is that you will come into church, you will find your chair, and there will be some resources, activities on there. So it might be that one week we do a craft, and everything you need for that craft, glue, scissors, pens, everything you need is in a bag under your chair. Or it could be that we do a game where you only need paper and some pens, and they'll be on your chair as well. And then at the end of the session, we would just ask you to scoop up everything you've used and to drop it in a box on your way out. That box will then be quarantined for 72 hours. The same with a donation. If you bring your pound donation, there will be a box just to drop it in, and then I will keep that box to one side for 72 hours. So it's not going to be the group that we know, it's going to be very different, and I understand how boring it might sound, but I'm going to do my best to make sure it is still a fun group that you will look forward to coming to. So if you decide that actually now's not the time to come back, that you want to wait until it's back to some kind of normality, then that's absolutely fine. So we're going to try our best to make sure we do something for all of you. If a lot of you come back to me and say, actually Hannah, I don't feel like I want to come yet, then we will still offer online so you're not missing out.